still slow to go down, and that's pretty typical of an upright type of dog. They're not as comfortable in a down. They're not as comfortable sliding into a down like a border collie or a dog that crouches when they move. So she's very upright, very typical of Aussies. There's nothing wrong with that. She's just not as comfortable going into a down as a different breed. So Josey, down. So it just takes her a little bit longer, but that's not a problem. Her attitude about that looks better. I'm not using the down much on stock unless I need to reinforce her stop. So again, like when I talked about Josey, stop. So the standing stop can be really precarious for a lot of dogs because they tend to put those extra steps in there. It's very, very easy for them to see the movement of livestock and then just shift their body position or start to move. So again, if I'm using this stop command to help her, so I'm stopping her because she needs me to come over there and assist her with the chore or the livestock or handling the situation, whatever it is. A lot of times she likes to work against me. So she really wants to balance and try to bring livestock to me, which means every time I move towards her, she gets around the livestock, moving away from me as if she were trying to balance the livestock to me, which doesn't help us get jobs done. If we have livestock at a gate, she just needs a little help pushing. I need her to stop, let me come over there and assist her in pushing instead of her going around and bringing the cattle away from the gate. So she's still she's very much like wants to be kind of out in the open type dog. She does not like going in along fences, doesn't like going between the livestock and the fence. She just feels that pressure quite a bit and she needs support. So I did go ahead and put her back on a long line today, just because I know these are probably going to hang her out along the fence, and I can assist her and I can show her that the down is not a punishment, the stop is not a punishment. I'm stopping you so that I can help you, so I can get in there and help you be successful. So I always wanted her to be successful. I always want to set her up to do to win and to get the livestock to listen to her. So just using that down and the stop first, and then if she starts to move, the down second. So just telling her, hey, stop, let me get over there and help you. And then if she starts to move away from me on the stop, which she probably will, then I will reinforce, I'll have her go into a down so that she can't move, and then ask her up when I'm in the right position to help her. Go. So I really want her shoulder along the fence here, so I'm just putting pressure on her. I want her to give into the pressure and move away from it. And in this situation, she gave me a down, so I can't really correct her too much for that because she did give into pressure, just not the way that I wanted to see. So what I'll do is I'll take the line, I'll shorten it up, I'll walk into her and kind of make it to where she has to get on the fence, and then I'm going to release the pressure. So just showing her that I wanted her along the fence, and that's what the pressure was for. And I just blocked her from going forward and going backward and put direct pressure on that shoulder. And so now she's going to go ahead and move forward. So if she would just find herself comfortable along that fence and make her way forward, we'd be successful in this. If I let her send now, what she'd probably do is she'd probably cross over and just put those sheep in the corner and hold them away from me. So she really has to get comfortable going in along that fence line. So I'll walk with her as far as I have to make her be successful at that. And then I can back away. She left one. So I do not tell my down. She left one out. Okay? And she is close enough to that sheep that I know she saw it. So I do not give my dogs a look back command at this point. I give them a correction. So, and then I pressure them physically towards the stalk that they missed. So she will have to get that one. Why do they do that? Some dogs just get keyed into the movement. They see the stalk moving. They forget about the one that's not moving. Some of them think they can't move the one that's being still. So instead of trying to move it, they just forget about it and leave. Some dogs just don't naturally have a good sense of group. They don't see livestock as a group, they see it as individuals. And in those dogs, you'll always be dealing with this. In her case, I think it's pressure. I think that one was further along the fence. She didn't really want to deal with the fence pressure to begin with. And so then when the livestock chose to stay along the fence, she had a hard time. So she opted to just move the ones that lifted off the fence from her first effort. So we'll put pressure on her and make it unpleasant for her to leave the one because we don't ever want her to think that that's okay. And now she's getting pressure for getting up out of her down. So then I have to remove that pressure because things changed, right? I was going to go over there and just put her on the sheep that she forgot, but since she forgot she was supposed to be in a down, I had to change something. So relieve the pressure on her for getting up, and then now I'm going to walk over there and make her get the sheep. When she went in, she split two off, so she went right back and got them. You know, at home, you're probably not going to make a big deal out of that, but just notice it, because if it becomes a problem, you may have to start really correcting her for it. Good girl. And they're going to drift over there to that fence again. Good girl. The other thing is she doesn't really have a bite on animals that I've seen, so good girl. Good girl. So she can have a little bit of a hard time convincing the animals to move off of her because they see her there and they feel her presence, and she asks them very nicely to move, and then if they don't, if they found some really good grass or something like that, sometimes she goes and she'll try to move a different one and relieve the pressure on the ones that she really needs to push on. So really at home, if she will bite livestock, I would encourage it. I would not get onto her for it. I've tried to encourage some bite in her here, tried to work her with other dogs who I knew would bite and maybe get the livestock stirred up a bit to get her excited and get in there and bite. And she just doesn't exhibit much bite. So again, I want to send her in on the fence. So as soon as she looked away, you could tell she's feeling that pressure there. So what I want to do is I want to stop her before she leaves the pressure, because the sheep are going to see that as the dog is incapable of going in there and moving them. Stop. So I'm going to ask her to stop. Stop. And then I want to down. So she saw my movement and she wanted to react off my movement and try to bounce off, but she was going to go the other way and get out of the pressure. I don't need her to leave the pressure at this point. I need her to stand in the pressure, deal with it, and hold these sheep where they are so that when I get here down, when I get here, I can help her. And I am going to pick up the line because I think she wants to go the wrong way. You can tell her head is facing the wrong way. So I put a little pressure on her, make that direct unpleasant. And if she would reach in there and just even nose them hard, you know, like have some intent behind it, they would move off of her a lot better. Get up, get up, get up. Or even if she was get some speed going. She's very, very polite to the stop. And if you down. If you have any stock that are pushy, are going to push on the dog, she's probably not going to be able to move those. You can encourage her. I would just stop her and do exactly what I'm doing. Try to get in a position to help her, set her up to win. The more she wins, the more confidence she's going to gain. But her natural tendencies are just to be very light-handed, basically, with the stock. She wants them to move. She wants to move them. She wants to help you out. But she's just very, very nice about it, which can be a good thing too. So